Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another Winchester Wednesday. I am your host, Winchester 572, and we are back with yet another Reading Wednesday. So, yes, it was looked into, and it was decided that this will not be the final reading for this particular story. We will do one more, partly for availability of VA staff and whatnot. So, yes. We are getting on with it. They had just made it to the mountains, and we shall find out what's going on. But first, we should find out who our lovely VAs are. Hello, lovely VAs.
Who are you calling lovely?
I'm not very artistic.
Rawr.
Well, I'm
Calling him
autistic, so does that count?
Yes.
Okay then.
Anyway, hello everyone.
So, yes. First off, we have my lovely co-host, Crazy Matt Captain.
Rawr.
And
Yes.
next up, we have our lovely fanfic editor, Double R Forest.
Oh, I don't know. Just insert a JoJo reference, I guess.
Alrighty. And next up, our lovely stream secretary, Razzle.
Hello.
Our wonderful Australian friend, Lycan.
Hey yo. It's been a few. Has it been 2 weeks or 4 weeks? I've forgotten.
A while.
See, it was before Halloween, so I didn't get to say any Halloween jokes. But do you know why ghosts are my favorite at parties? Because they always bring the booze.
I mean, that is a good person at all the parties. And speaking of a person who brings booze at our parties, our lovely Fluttershy here, Ocean Breeze.
Hi, what's up? I'm tired.
Hi, Tide.
And last but certainly not least, coming back for a second reading, amazingly, but for some reason, we have Tara. Maybe.
I don't know if my mic's working. Oh.
Oh, there it went. There it worked.
Hey.
So, yes, as previously stated, we have a lovely reading for all of you today. And also I see Whirlwind in the chat, so hi, Whirlwind. I also like how it's just like, first time chat.
Hi,
Oh,
hey,
yes.
Whirlwind.
Okay, so that is a base thing on Twitch's end. Okay.
Yes.
Sure.
Apparently. So,
Weird.
Roland.
So, yes. Ugh. So, yes, we're back with yet another reading after a week or so. I should probably switch over to all the lovely characters over here so that, yes, we have those things. Also, apparently,
Characters.
there went that. I'm out of it today. I don't know where my where all my stuff is that I'm supposed to be showing. Ugh. Jeez, and I was with it all day today and like all day yesterday because apparently I got a blade of grass like stuck in my eye, like into the eye itself. So it
Really, giving the first time chat for Lycan as well. What the deuce?
that it
Have you
is.
not talked in the chat before, Lycan?
I don't know.
Apparently
I've
not
chatted
this
on the
one.
YouTube. Yeah, I've chatted on the YouTube before.
Yeah. So yes, I hope that all of you folks have a wonderful day, and yeah. So if nobody has anything to add about their weeks, I guess we can start off into the chapter. It's a little bit shorter one tonight due to the fact that we split things up, but it's still got a fairly large cast to it. So
if you got a blade of grass in your eye, are you like going to take revenge on it and I don't know, smoke some weed?
God, I
Okay,
I
that
hope
one was a
not.
stretch.
I hope
That was a
not.
bit of a
Smoked
stretch.
weed, it gives me the worst
I hope-
fucking headache.
I really hope that we don't leave Lycan behind for that one.
Who brings all the booze, you said? Because I think it's her.
I was gonna say Ocean's normally pretty good at procuring booze for our parties.
What? Booze? I need booze.
Yes, I need you to bring the booze to this party.
Boo! I brought
What
some
do you
booze.
want?
Delicious booze.
What do you want? Do you want a rum and coke? Do you want absinthe and lemonade? Do you want a
Wait, Russian.
Robitussin? What do you want?
No, I know exactly what Winchester wants to do. He wants tequila me.
Or rum you out of town.
How about absinthe and coke, please, to deal with all this?
Yay!
I got you.
A Robitussin stops you from coughing because it knocks you out, right?
Yeah, then I can't die because then there'll be no coffin.
No, the Robitussin doesn't
Hold
knock
on.
you out.
Hey,
Fiora
if you leave
knocks
it
you out
Lycan,
after
if
she.
you leave it glass, your remains, whether or not your funeral will be a hit, remains to be seen.
No.
Oh no.
So the Robitussin doesn't knock you out. Fiora knocks you out when you tell her about the Robitussin.
Robitussin
The
tastes terrible.
Hold on. The Robitussin is a drink I came up with that Winchester just so conveniently named because that one, it's kind of what it tastes like, and two, it kind of starts to look like its color, and it is potent as hell, like
And you can keep
absolutely
it-
potent.
Because Robitussin tastes like ass. No, thank you.
It is straight alcohol. There's no pop,
don't care.
no other mixture. It is straight alcohol.
Robitussin tastes terrible. I do not want anything associated with that medicine.
It doesn't even
Exactly.
have the medicine in it. It's just kinky
don't
and
call it
coconut
that.
rum and
You're,
UV.
you're ruining the image you're giving here. Don't name
I don't
things
think you can
after something that
ruin
people
the
don't want.
image of something that is literally called Robitussin that does it by itself.
Is it like, I don't know, vodka and Dr. Pepper? That sounds like a Robitussin.
That doesn't sound like it's good.
I'm just
we should
sitting
move
here
on, maybe.
eyeing the bottle.
Did you say vodka and Dr. Pepper?
Dr.
Yes.
Pepper, anything isn't good.
Dr. Pepper's
Dr. Pepper's
amazing.
okay.
I think we should move along.
I'm just sitting here staring
Yeah,
at
I'm
the
on the clock
Everclear on my
here.
shelf, going,
You still have that.
Yes, I do.
That was hand sanitizer for a camp out.
That was also a
when, you know,
Molotov
COVID
cocktail
was-
that almost blew steel cords up.
Yeah.
But anyways, speaking of blowing things up, we've got a reading to do. So let's get on with that.
Are we gonna set it on fire?
This show's always on fire. Because we're lit,
Fair.
yo.
Never mind.
Hey. Ugh.
Real Blaze trailers.
Been blazing this since 2013, man.
So yes. Anyways, without further ado, it's a dangerous business going out your door by Jetfire 2012. Your narrator tonight will be me, Winchester. I will also be playing Applejack. Playing Rarity will be Razzle. Playing Rainbow Dash will be Terra. Playing Zakora will be Double R. Playing Fluttershy and Applebloom will be Ocean Breeze. Playing Twilight Sparkle will be CmC. And our reoccurring Pinkie Pie will be Lycan.
Hey, how come he gets a special intro?
It's a dangerous business going out your door by Jetfire 2012. Chapter 18. That morning, all three ponies awoke at once. They had found a small grotto to stay in overnight, out of the wind and the slight chill pervading the air. They had laid out Applejack's tarp and both her and Rarity's blankets, cushioning them against the craggy rock below. The three of them had bundled together at Rainbow Dash's insistence. The sky blue Pegasus slept between the white unicorn and the orange earth pony, stretching her wings out over both of them and drawing them close to her. Now, as they woke, all three of them could feel each other's hearts beating almost in unison. Rarity gently drew closer to Dash, while Applejack sighed contently. You know, part of me is gonna miss this once we're back in Ponyville.
There's always sleepovers, I suppose.
Yeah, so you girls couldn't make it up to my house, which is too bad because it's really cool.
Well, not unless Twilight casting her cloud walking spell on us. The mention of the stricken unicorn served to focus Rarity's mind. She pulled away from Rainbow Dash and rose to her hooves.
Let's not waste too much time. I think we can make it to a grove of better violets today. But there's no telling if we'll find one as bright of purple as what we need.
Right. Applejack got to her own hooves and flipped her hat onto her head. Breakfast first, though.
Of course.
Dash fluttered her wings and was on her hooves, then trotted over to her saddlebags. She opened it and removed some carrots, half a loaf of bread, and the bundle of leaves containing the deer's food offerings.
So, what are you girls hungry for? I'd like some carrots and some of that nan.
Those pansies were mighty tasty yesterday. I reckon I'd better not get too attached to 'em, else I'm gonna start nipping 'em out of Pony's gardens.
I'm a little surprised nobody's ever done just that. Surely we can't be the first to discover their sweet taste.
Maybe all the flower angling ponies just keep it to themselves. I might be tempted to do the same. Applejack took up a carrot between her hooves, took a bite, and chewed thoughtfully. With a grin, Dash unwrapped the leaf bundle.
Well, I'm gonna have a pansy or two, so you can all have some too or not.
She pulled out 3 of the brightly colored flowers and popped one in her mouth, chewing contently. They busied themselves with eating for a few moments.
Assuming we do find the right Beneviolet today, how should we proceed on our way back?
Well, we're definitely going to go back through the Shimmerwood. Once we got there, though, I was wondering if we couldn't just ask Fallaria to teleport us back to Ponyville if she can.
Really? You don't want to go back through Gilderdale?
Part of me does. The orange earth pony lingered in silence for a moment. Then she hardened her green eyes. But they're planting now at Sweet Apple Acres, and I've been gone nearly 2 weeks already. I can't afford to spend any more time away. I got my duty.
When I think about it, I've been away for so long also. Customers are probably getting desperate for some of my spring fashions. Not to mention Sweetabelle hasn't seen me in so long. She must be worried sick.
Dash thought about the little fillies that looked up to her. Thought about her good friends and how they missed her. Thought about all the jobs she needed to do back in Ponyville. Yet, she didn't fill herself with regret.
You know, duty is a funny thing. We talk about how we have it to other things and other ponies, but sometimes we forget we've got a duty to ourselves too.
I never forget that. But ideally, you must put yourself last. Others come first.
Well, I guess there's that. They're all connected, though. All our duties. See, you can say that your duties to other ponies come first, but if you neglect yourself, then you won't be able to help other ponies as well as you might. All this trip, all this time, we've been here because of our duty to Twilight, but we've also not avoided the times that have let us take care of ourselves either. When you spent all that time with Ashtail, Applejack, when I went into the dreaming with the pronghorns, and when Falaloria taught you how to teleport, Rarity, and taught us all about the elements of harmony, that was important to each of us, and we needed to do it. But wasn't just important for us, it was important for every pony who might someday need our help. Because we spent some time making ourselves better, we may be able to help other ponies that much more.
Winchester.
Winchester.
My mic was muted, I'm sorry. Applejack was a bit surprised to hear such wisdom from the freewheeling Pegasus. As she looked at her old friend, now covered in swirling dark blue symbols, she could see a kind of bearing that wasn't there before, a kind of nobility. It hadn't come about overnight, so she hadn't noticed it happen. She hadn't been paying attention. Now it stared at her in the face. Rainbow Dash was proving her own point by her own subtle, vital transformation. That's something to think about, Sugar Cube, for sure. I reckon even when we get back, we're gonna keep changing because of this trip.
I'm sure Pinkie Pie and Fluttershy have changed in their own way as well, and even Twilight Sparkle, though I wouldn't wish her experience on any pony. When we're all together again, I suppose, we'll truly be able to tell. Though, Applejack, what makes you think Lady Falaloria can teleport us back to Ponyville? If she could do that, wouldn't she have offered to teleport us the rest of the way up to the mountain?
Maybe, but I'm not sure. It's like Rainbow's been saying, you know? Maybe she figured we had to make the rest of the trip ourselves, for her own good. She seemed real sure that Twilight wasn't gonna die, so maybe she figured we'd keep on learning and growing and going the rest of the way up on hoof. She sure was holding something back when we talked about coming back down the mountain, that's for sure.
You know, you may be right. I don't yet know much about being a seer, but one thing that seems to be true is that you have to be careful about what you tell ponies. If the future is really built on choices, and those choices come out because of the way our true natures react to circumstances, then I can see the value in sometimes withholding information from a pony. Not because you want her to be hurt, but because if you do tell her about the future, it's going to change how she thinks about her choices when it comes time to make them. Perhaps knowing too much about the future is going to change the choices she makes, resulting in a different future than what you predicted.
She thought privately about Faloria's choice to let them leave the Shimmerwood. For some pony who could see the future, choosing not to act, to allow events to unfold naturally, was an action in itself.
I shall have to remember that.
Applejack chewed one final pansy carefully. Knowing the future, you know, Twilight's gonna give you a lecture when you tell her, right? She's never gone in for predictions and prophecies.
Perhaps I won't tell her. Not yet, anyway. Falaloria said the time was coming when we would all know. Perhaps we should wait until then to mention these things.
When will we know? It may just be something we'll have to feel.
Then feel it, Dash, and recognize it when it comes. It's like when a pony gets the cutie mark. You know the moment when it happens.
Pony has a nose for destiny. That's something Firefly used to say. She was usually right. I think we'd better get going. Twilight's still in danger.
Right on, Sugar Cube. Think you can pack up the food while Rarity and I armor up? Dash chuckled and stood, beginning to gather up the remaining bread and carrots.
Now you both have armor. It's so funny. I never would have pegged you for the warrior type, Rarity.
Rarity gave her a demure smile as she trotted over to her neatly arranged armor.
You should know by now, Dash, that there is more to me than first glances suggest. Did you know I took a semester of horn fencing at finishing school?
You fencing? I never would have seen it. Okay, well, I can see it now, but not before this trip.
Oh, I did not like it at first.
Rarity levitated the flanchards and petrol over her head.
By the end of the class, though, I was decent at it. It teaches you to be observant and patient, to look for your moment, to wait for it to arrive, and when it comes,
She tightened the armor around her torso with a pulse of magic.
you strike.
Applejack tugged her own flanchards on, rolling over to fasten the straps beneath her belly. Huh. You made it sound like apple bucking. That made her think of home again, and her friends. And then she grinned. You know what's funny? Pinkie Pie reckoned we'd see... Pinkie Pie reckoned we'd see all manner of terrible critters out here. And, except for the Kamegas, we ain't met with one.
What were the things she mentioned?
Balrogs and something, I don't recall, to be honest. The Earth Pony and the Unicorn consumed themselves with fastening their respective sets of armor. When they were finished, Rainbow Dash had packed up all the food and even folded up the tarp and blankets. Putting those away, Applejack and Rarity fastened their saddlebags to their flanks, while Dash wrapped her scarf around her neck. Their effects securely stowed, their equipment snugly strapped, and the three ponies walked side by side out of the grotto. They were decently high in the Archback Mountains, the air crisp around them, and the wind a light but cool breeze. Gildedale shone gold far below them, the sun rising ahead of them in the east, high above the distant Drakenridge Mountains. Say, Rainbow, you want to go on up ahead of us? Check for the Beneviolets?
I did think about it. Tell you what, if we can all make it up into the mountain range in 2 hours, I'll stick with you girls.
You don't even have a clock.
Trust me, I can tell.
All right then, shall we?
Rarity turned back up the steep and rocky path, and launched herself forward at a full gallop. Applejack quick behind her, Dash brought up the rear, Rainbow streaked tail flapping behind her as she pounded her hooves on the dark stone, leading ever higher into the archbacks. Twilight Sparkle screamed as another crackling bolt lanced off her horn, striking one of the walls of her bedroom. She thrashed about under the covers, sweat pouring down her face. Her horn was almost totally black. Tears leaked from the corners of her tightly shut eyes. She wasn't even thinking, just experiencing. A slave to her blinding, agonizing pain. A pain that none of the available painkillers could abate. Zakor felt the lavender unicorn's forehead with the back of her hoof.
She's getting much hotter. More water! More water!
Applebloom dashed out of the bedroom, and the water in the sink was running moments later.
Oh, I wish Spike were here.
They had sent Spike into the Everfree Forest to get some poison joke. Zakora said that its body-altering properties made it a strong painkiller, and Spike's scales would protect him from the strange side effects.
I think we need to contact Princess Celestia now.
No friends.
They'll make it in time. I know they will.
Pinkie Pie bounced in place. Each pounding of her hooves on the floor was like the striking of a hammer, or the banging of the drum, and to Fluttershy it seemed like a terrible countdown had begun.
We gotta keep Twilight going for just a little longer.
The butter yellow Pegasus swallowed hard. She had first broached the subject of contacting Princess Celestia 5 days ago, but both Twilight and Pinkie had disagreed. Twilight's refusal had been unusual. She was normally so quick to contact her teacher and mentor. The Lavender Unicorn had explained that she trusted Applejack, Rarity, and Rainbow Dash to retrieve the Beneviolet in time, and she had a deep-seated fear that she would be betraying them if she went to Celestia. This was coupled with a strange worry about bothering the princess, as though it would be a bother for her to learn Her student was deathly ill. Fluttershy had suspected that the horn rot was affecting Twilight's thinking, but her refusal had been adamant. And Pinkie Pie, with her undying faith in the abilities of her friends, had been quick to support her in this. The two of them had succeeded multiple times in overruling Fluttershy, and she cursed herself for her meekness. She should have been demanding. She should have been insistent. They were so heartfelt in their belief that the others would come through. Now, though, Zecora was here, and Fluttershy knew the zebra was as concerned about Twilight as she was.
Pinkie, I know you have faith in your friends, but if we do not act soon, this is where Twilight ends.
But I just know. I know.
The pink earth pony's eyes were bright. She seemed to have gotten only more cheerful.
I know they'll do it. They'll do it and it'll be spectacular and we'll all clap, clap, clap. And Twilight says,
Twilight's not thinking right, Pinkie. Twilight's going to die, and we need to do something now.
Apple Bloom rushed back in with the damp washcloth, which Zecora applied to Twilight's forehead. Suddenly a spark popped off the tip of her horn, and her eyes shot open, empty and glowing white.
Beware the beast that guards the earth. The greatest challenge approaches.
Her eyes shut tightly again, and she arched her back in agony.
What's that mean?
it means something big is going to happen, and whoa!
The pink earth pony suddenly lost her footing, some legs going one way, some going another. She toppled over onto the ground, where she rolled onto her back.
Not now, Pinkie Pie.
When she turned towards Pinkie, however, Fluttershy was surprised to see what had befallen her. Pinkie was on her back, her legs were moving in the air. Her right front leg and her right back leg would move forward, while her left front leg and her left back leg would move back. Then her right legs would move back, while her left legs moved forward. Right legs forward, left legs back, left legs forward, right legs back, over and over.
Fluttershy?
A twitch?
Yep, I just knew something big was going to happen.
What does that one mean? I've never seen it before.
One side forward, one side back. It means I'm right about something I didn't think I was going to be right about.
Really?
In spite of the chaos and the deadly danger to Twilight, she couldn't help raise her eyebrows.
And that doesn't happen very often?
Not really. I'm usually spot on.
Yeah, but I agree with Fluttershy and Zecora. We just gotta keep Twilight from dying, and if that means contacting Princess Celestia, then that's what we gotta do.
But
Please, Pinkie, just in case. If Applejack and the others are going to save Twilight, they're gonna have to do it soon. So either they will, or they won't, and then Princess Celestia can save her, or do something for her, but only if she knows.
Her twitch abating, the pink earth bunny rolled over onto her belly, sprawling her legs out on the floor. She put a hoof to her chin, screwing up her face.
well,
She grinned at them.
okie dokie. Just to make you all feel better, though. We won't need Princess Celestia. You'll see.
All right then. When Spike gets back, we're sending a message to Celestia, though. No more argument.
Ah!
Zecora pressed the wet washcloth harder to her forehead, speaking gently to the unicorn in her native zebra language.
If Twilight can even last that long.
This was it. The next hour or two would be crucial. Even contacting Princess Celestia required Spike to be here, and they had no way of knowing when she would be back. Fluttershy didn't dare leave Twilight's side to find him. None of them did. She felt strong, like she might cry. But she couldn't. Not with Applebloom here. She needed to be strong. But she felt so helpless. She sank down to the floor, then put her front hooves together.
Princess Luna, I remember what you said to us the day you came back. After the party was over, you told us you had given up on yourself, that even as Nightmare Moon, you wanted to be appreciated, but you thought there was no hope left for that. So you were focused on making every pony feel pain as revenge. But you said that when we cleansed your spirit and brought you back to yourself, and every pony in Ponyville did want to love you, you realized there had always been hope for you. You and every pony. So you told us that you were going to take on a new divine role because you had been helped when help seemed impossible. You were going to become the patroness of desperate causes. I prayed to that part of you now, and I know I should have prayed sooner, but now things are very desperate and we need you more than ever. And I know you're probably asleep by now, but please, please hear my prayer. Don't let my friend die.
The path turned sharply, but Rarity merely slid into it, changing direction without losing speed. If she had bothered to think about it, she would probably have been amazed at her physical development. She had been worn out climbing the Drakenridge Mountains almost 2 weeks ago, but she handled the steep incline now with ease. Her silver armor flashed in the sun, the wind whipped cold around her, but she found she didn't mind it when... Excuse me. But she found she didn't mind it as she once might have. Behind her, Applejack kept pace, grinning at the swiftness of their ascent. The path was narrower, rockier, higher, but they hadn't slackened their pace. They were going to do it. They were going to be in the midst of the mountains before noon. Long before. They could probably find the Beneviolet in no time. Twilight, we're gonna do it. We're gonna save you lickety-split. Then she thought inevitably about what would happen after. Could Falaria teleport them back? If she could, Applejack was prepared to ask her for it. Maybe that was why the Golden Hind had been so hesitant to agree with their statements about the return journey. She would ask for it, even though it would mean not seeing Ashtail again. And here her heart ached. She thought of him by her side, running with her. She knew he would be able to keep pace, so tough and muscular and lean. He would lean against her, breath on her neck, say into her ear, "Do what you must." He would understand. And she knew she would see him again one day. She knew it in her heart. It wasn't seeing, it wasn't what Falaria did, but she knew. I want him to meet Big Macintosh, and Granny Smith. And I bet Applebloom would love him. I bet he'd love the farm, too. I bet he'd love a real, honest-to-goodness apple to eat. Ah, I should have given him some of our apples. We had a few to spare. They passed between two great cliffs, and Rarity skidded to a halt. Catching up with her, Applejack and Rainbow Dash found themselves looking down into a great gorge, the path widening widely around the other side of the peak they had just passed. Deep, at the bottom, a small stream passed through, and there was a perimeter of grass around it. The Orange Earth Pony traced the stream to the south, where the gorge opened up into a great valley. There was green there, and she could see that it was liberally speckled with purple. There! Those have got to be the Beneviolets.
I'll go check it out. You two hurry as fast as you can.
Dash flapped her wings and shot away.
Remember, look for one that's bright purple.
Right.
Come on! Applejack took the lead down the path. Rarity followed close behind her. It wound widely around the peak, snaking over arms of the mountains, bending down, then rising back up over and over. But they galloped regardless, almost breaking into a full run. This was it. They were here. Wending their way around a corner, they galloped side by side as the path widened. Opening almost into a full road, it curved again, then descended, bending off to the right into a huge field of green grass. The valley they were in was enormous, easily a mile broad, and it continued for an untold number of miles off to the south. The stream running through it was a glimmer of silver. It was festooned with wildflowers. Most of them were.
Beneviolets!
There were so many of them, quite apart from their circumstantial joy. The designer in her realized that the flowers were gorgeous. Their petals were broad at the base, narrowing out into what seemed to be true points. 5 of them making the most delightful star shape, the very very delightful star shape, the very middle jet black, the stoma stretching out colored purest gold, and the petals themselves rich and deep shade of violet. That made her stop and pause. Deep. Too deep. Applejack noticed as well. They're all dark. They've been growing too long.
Oh dear.
A nervous puddle was sloshing around in her heart. With a whoosh of wind, Rainbow Dash came to a galloping landing ahead of them, surging ahead and getting to a stop before her friends.
They're all too dark.
Come on now, Rainbow. You can't have seen all of them.
Yes, I did. I flew low over and over and over.
We'll have to search on hoof. Applejack, you take that side of the stream and I'll take this side. Move as quickly as you can, but be careful. Dash, fly in a zigzag over the field. Keep your eyes peeled.
But
Do it!
Nodding, Dash took to the sky again, starting the flight path the white unicorn had advised. Applejack galloped through the fields, leaping the stream in a single bound, and then setting off. Combing the grass, her green eyes surveying as keenly as she could, ever fixed on the ground. Verity swept her blue eyes from side to side as she galloped. Something in her heart was telling her she had to hurry, that she had to find a properly colored Beneville very soon. She crossed from one side of the field to the other, but always moving forward. She galloped. She had no idea how big this valley was. She noticed that the ground was unusually soft, even more so than she was used to on fertile soil. Almost an hour later, she and Applejack arrived back at the head of the valley. They hadn't gone through the whole length of it. It was too big, but they'd seen enough.
Anything?
Not a bright one to be seen. Rainbow Dash dropped out of the sky in front of them.
told you, but there's got to be more fields and valleys up here. We need to keep searching. Ugh, I wish I had more Pegasi with us.
Verity stopped hard. Her eyes widened, and in spite of the dire circumstances, she smiled enormously, lunging at Dash.
Oh, Dash, you did it. You did it. Nobody even needed to correct you. What? I could just kiss you.
She wrapped her forehooves around Dash's neck. The Sky Boo Pegasus was taken aback for a moment, then grinned slyly.
Well, if you want to.
Verity drew back, an uncertain look on her face. Then she made a little noise and planted a soft kiss on Dash's forehead.
Done. Now don't say I never did.
All right. That just proves my lesson took when yours didn't. But we gotta keep focused. We gotta find another field.
Say, could there be a field at the at the other end of that gorge?
She turned back to the north and squinted, trying to look through the narrow, rocky valley. At the other end of it, some distance away, she thought she could just spy a flash of green.
I think there it is.
Yeah, I see it. I'm gonna go check it out. You girls wait here.
She flapped her wings and was gone in a rainbow streak, her scarf fluttering in the breeze behind her. As Applejack watched her go, she noticed the sky had grown dim. Looking up, she watched the dark gray clouds rolling silently overhead. The wind was picking up as well and getting colder. Uh-oh. We gotta hurry. I think there's a storm coming.
Up here, it's got to be a snowstorm, I suppose. We'll never find a proper Beneviolet if it gets buried in snow.
Rainbow Dash flew with all her might. She was going faster than normal. It was as though the wind resistance was non-existent.
Chalk it up to this handy scarf. Gotta remember to thank Falaloria when I see her again.
In no time, she crossed the gorge and was above another valley. This one narrower than the first. It too was filled with wildflowers. Many of them were beneviolets, but they were all dark purple, just as before. She trained her Pegasus eyes, scouring the ground, looking. She glanced further ahead. More dark purple. More dark purple. Then, there it was. Far off, isolated from the others, it was on a long, low, wide, strangely shaped hill. At the highest point, a single beneviolet, but it was such a violent shade of purple it made her blink. She couldn't resist swinging back around and flying toward her friends again.
See a Beneviolet. I see one that's the right color.
So go get it! And hurry! There's a storm coming! The sky was completely gray now. The wind began to howl. Nodding, Rainbow Dash wheeled about and shot across the gorge a second time, her heart pumping, every hair on her body and every feather in her wings alive. She could feel the dreaming swirl around her, feel it surge in and out of her like an ocean upon the shore. There was import to this moment. She could feel it. This was the culmination of their long, hard journey. Soaring over the valley, she flew low, coming down towards the hill. She hit it hard and galloped forward, grass brushing aside as she moved. Snowflakes began to gently descend from the sky. She skidded to a halt near the hill's summit. In a shallow depression of grass, the ground here was extremely soft. She was practically sinking into it. The Beneviolet was less than 100 feet away. She was so giddy that she just had to shout and jump.
Tara. Tara.
Yes, yes!
She yelled, jumping up into the air and slamming her hooves hard onto the earth. When she landed, the ground began to rumble. Dash's body trembled as the earth beneath her shook. The whole valley, the whole mountain range, shook. Her legs began to spread apart beneath her, nearly dragging her to the ground before she flapped her wings and hovered. Grass and dirt peeled away from the earth as the earth under her split. Beneath it, growing steadily larger, was a field of bright sea green, strangely slick, almost wet-looking. Whirling around in the air, Dash saw it continue for more than 20 feet in the other direction. She spun again, and she saw it continue for another 20 feet, still growing bigger. Then she looked just beneath her. Here the green was not, and in its place was a thick, empty black. The mountains were still trembling. In fact, they were shaking even harder. A rumble, growing louder and louder. She flapped her wings backward, pulling away from the hill. The field of sea green was brilliant and unnatural, and she realized that the black she had seen was a line that neatly bisected the sea green. It was thicker than two ponies side by side. The sea green stopped expanding, now making a strangely ovid shape of huge size. For a moment, the mountain range was still. The great black line twitched from side to side, sending Dash's heart into her throat. Then the line narrowed. The hill exploded. Dirt and grass and flowers and rock blew everywhere, filling the air as the very ground beneath her rose. She flew skyward, but it followed her. Higher and higher, whole fields worth of brown dirt falling away, revealing blackness, revealing slickness. Still, the bright purple Beneviolet was intact, seemed to be wedged in a kind of crevice, a ridge taller than Sugar Cube Corner. Panicking, she arced back to the south, flying where she knew her friends were, snow now filling the air around her. Applejack and Rarity were gaping at the sight in front of them. A whole chunk of the mountain had just risen into the air, and it continued to rise on a titanic column of blackness. The narrow gorge exploded. Chunks of stone the size of Applejack's barn, the size of Ponyville's library, flying hundreds of feet skyward in every direction. Water spraying everywhere as the stream was torn apart. A sky blue blur was suddenly hurtling towards them, streaking to a stop, and suddenly Rainbow Dash hovered and screamed. Applejack and Rarity needed no further encouragement. They turned and galloped. No, they ran as fast as their legs could carry them. And it seemed that at their heels the valley shredded, hills of dirt, acres of grass tearing apart and flying away. The mountains were shuddering. They ran and ran for minutes, foam flecking the corners of their mouths, Dash flying right beside them, not wanting to leave them, though she was filled with fear. Minutes turned to tens of minutes, and still they ran, panting, and still the mountains shuddered, and still, when they looked over their shoulder, the tower of blackness rose, too thick, filling the horizon, unable to be properly studied. At last they reached the end of the long valley, a steep decline. They lost their footing and tumbled down it, Rarity having the presence of mind to turn her fall into a sideways roll so the crest on her helmet did not catch on something and break her neck. They tumbled down and down until they reached a barren field of stone, the mountain peaks stretching, curving overhead all around, like an arena, like a stadium. Dash looked ahead and barely glimpsed some of the crumbling stone structures. A long table, an ancient arch, far off in the middle of the barren vista. Her friends got to their hooves and still ran, running across the bare rock until finally Rarity's newfound endurance failed her, and she stumbled to a stop, panting and hacking for breath in the increasingly cold air. Applejack stopped as well, her breath coming out in a fog. Rainbow Dash skidded to a stop before them.
What?
Was
What?
all she could say. Was all she could think to say, but she got no further. A long, low hiss pervaded through the whole of the air. Fear raced up each pony's spine. They turned slowly around. It had stopped rising. 2 miles. 4 miles. 5 miles. 10 miles or more into the sky. Some of its body, perhaps most of its body, still seemed to be submerged in the earth. But what protruded out and up was as broad as the whole of the Everfree Forest. It was jet black all over, even on its vast belly, up and up, craning back their necks to see, until their wandering eyes stopped at its huge head, bigger than Canterlot, shaped like a giant spade. 4 blazing green eyes, each one bigger than an Ursa Major, flitted with an unholy speed across the world. Thick black lines for pupils. It opened its mouth. Fangs the size of Ponyville, all a dull bone white. A long, dull blue tongue, wider than a dragon's wingspan, longer than the roads between Ponyville and the Everfree Forest, lolled out, flicked. Another hiss rose on the wind. Applejack swallowed hard. Now she had remembered what Pinkie Pie had said. You reckon that's a world snake?
Yeah, I reckon.
And there we go!
Yay!
Cue battle music.
It girds the earth.
Yep, and then the next time we get together for a reading, it'll be the last reading for this story.
Oh, nice.
The end is nigh.
Yes.
No, this is a horse story. The end is nay.
Whatever.
I'll accept that one. So yes, that was an interesting read, and yes, that was quite the cliffhanger, but it just leaves us with more interesting stuff to read later.
I'm sure we'll get plenty more about snakes.
Also, no, Tokoi, I don't think banjo battle music is what this should be.
Now.
I
Oh,
can,
now my mic decides to work.
I can
Yay.
do my standard of sitting down and just plugging out the Doom theme on guitar.
The worst one is when you hear like the twang, and then you're like, "Damn it, I broke a G string."
6 would be very angry about that. 2 people that get that joke. Nice. Anyways, yes. So I also see that the dead has been awakened. Skyrays, what do you have planned for the after party?
Nothing. Actually, no. I almost forgot about the after party.
Shame
I
on
can't-
you.
Well, I came home after working from 2 a.m. till 5 p.m. and I decided,
Oh
you know
God.
Excuses.
Ugh.
what? Actually, I do not know. CmC, you got any ideas? Do you want to do Satisfactory again? Actually, we do have Diablo 2. We got the new characters. Well, we also need to ask Commander something if he wants to hang around.
There's a reason I poked the chat earlier.
So yeah, it sounds like they're going to have some fun figuring out what
Things will happen.
exactly is that they're going to play.
I'll still need someone to stream for me because my internet is still not all there.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Oh, that's no good.
Shouldn't you have shouldn't you know somebody who works on like internet stuff that can fix all of that?
The problem is the person who does all that work is is the real estate company that owns the apartment, and they're basically useless.
On.
So I've contacted them multiple times. If they don't fix it by the end of this week, I'm essentially just gonna call them up and say I'm not paying for the internet anymore.
Yeah.
Because I've been stuck at like 5 megabytes at the highest.
Oof.
When I'm supposed to be getting 200.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I'm guessing our after
fun.
party may be called into question here.
No, the after party can still happen. It's just CmC or Commander will have to stream.
I can do that. We'll see what we do. Everything might explode.
Alrighty.
Explosions are fun.
Yes, they are. So, I suppose. I mean, unless an entire hill explodes in front of you and you're trying to get a flower. I mean, that's slightly bad. But yes.
Nah,
Well-
explosions are the bomb.
We're having a blast in this chat.
No, they were a bomb.
And on that bombshell, I think it's time for shoutouts. So,
Things are really going off.
Wow, what an explosive opening.
closing. So,
Closing.
starting off, shoutouts for Lycan.
Ponies at Dawn had their release last weekend, so their album is now available. Go grab it because it sounds awesome. And there's even a shout out to yours truly in song 73. Although there is quite a bit of swearing in it, so your mileage may vary on that one. But yes, the whole album is dope. It sounds awesome. Go get it.
I wonder why there's a bunch of swearing at the one that mentions Lycan. The world may never know.
It does. It even mentions my puns as well, so that would be why.
Alrighty. Well, next up, shoutouts for Tara.
Oh goodness. I mean, shout out to the cosplay community, I guess, because like before this, that was my primary thing. And And thank you guys for letting me be a part of this again. And shout out to hopefully a better mic next time that doesn't suppress my shouting.
Yeah, you just got to move back further. So,
Yeah,
yes.
it's always fun. Just talk way over here.
Alrighty. And shout outs
You
for...
know,
But
I was just going to say, I actually did that the second time, and I think it still cut me out when I shouted run.
yeah, not as much. Alrighty, shout outs for Ocean. Good talk.
Ocean doesn't have a shout out. She just waves.
She might be on. Yeah, she's on a call. So, all right, shout outs for Razzle.
And I see what you did there.
Took you a second. Pizza. Pizza's pretty good.
Yes, it is. Alrighty, shout outs for Double R.
Let's see here. Shout outs to drinking 72 ounces of water a day now, as part of a new exercise regimen I'm going to be starting recently.
I mean that's a good amount of water to drink, anyways. But yes, alrighty.
He'll hydrate.
And shout outs for CmC.
Fires, explosions, and fossil venison jerky, and negative shoutouts to this 2-liter that will not open! It's just tearing apart my hand! I need a tool.
Try using a towel.
I have been using my
Hold
shirt.
Hold on, CMC. Here, try this.
I want
Nothing?
to
Okay.
drink it, not everywhere.
He's gonna blow his lid if he's not careful.
Winchester, I missed one. Can I do one more shout out?
Sure.
Shout out to Pegasuses everywhere.
No.
Sigh.
Pegasus.
Pegasus.
Yeah, I think we're just winging it by now.
Yeah.
You all deserved that one.
Commander, you should have just popped in and yelled.
Yeah, they should have.
Anyways,
For context to the audio, you just typed in our back chat. It's Pegasi! Hey, finally got the 2-liter open.
Alrighty. Well,
See, use the correct words, and good things will happen to you.
well,
Lies.
well, yeah, yes, I know that you did. I was just wanting to get more people shouting it's Pegasi. But yes.
Expecting Winchester to cock his shotgun again.
1 second, I've got to do the thing there. Okay.
And Winchester Forest, stick around while the thing is going. Whatever the fuck you call it, the song.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got a message for you two.
Oh my.
Sounds dangerous.
Message.
Okay.
Everything's
I
going
never
to
get
explode,
messages from
and the
people.
chat won't even know.
It's
Well-
dangerous to go alone.
Well, I
Does that mean I get a
shall.
puppy?
Well, on that note, thank you all for showing up. And yes, so I've got a little bit of a longer outro song here. So have fun.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
bright winged flame, full of power and grace. Glorious one, we all bow to your majesty, warrior in flight. From the depths you will rise to raise the shadows. Swiftly you move to reclaim and to prove you're the goddess of fire, and none can withstand your flare. All must give way to the eternal day. We reign forever, burning night sky, shining sun of the night. Legends foretell of your crown and your throne, standing to conquer the army of evil. So pillar and spark as the new dawn now starts. We wait in your presence. Moments have started a celestial rebirth. Signaled your coming, the time of your grand return. Luminous star, like a sword through the dark, will reveal the morning. Burning light of the
Thank you all for showing up. It's been fun. We'll see you all later. Stick around for the after party. See you later. This is Winchester 572 going 10-7. I'm out.